Hello, hello, it's Rebecca. Today we are going to draw a duck-billed platypus. The one that I chose is kind of peeking up out of a box. So we're just doing the neck and the head. You need a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser to join in. So gather up your supplies and come right back. All right, I'm going to assume that you are back. I'm going to move my guide and we will get started. You could really have your paper oriented any which way today. It's kind of just a small little guy. He's cute though. So we're going to start in the center of your paper with a circle that is about this big. So I get my whole arm going from my shoulder, round and round I go. I'm trying it out with a pencil today, so give me a thumbs up if you can see me okay. I should probably double check that, because what good is it if you can't follow along, right? All right, so we've got a circle. This will serve as our head. From the back of that circle off to the left, we're gonna plant our wrist and just with our hand, a nice little arc. See how if I plant my wrist and I just move my hand in an arc, my body will only go in that motion. So you're kind of working with what you've got and it will give you that nice arc and you don't have to work too hard at it. From there, we are going to create a nice little line that's just going to sit right at the bottom of that circle. This is going to be our box that our duck-billed platypus is peeking out of. So we're just going to give a hint of that with a line. Now let's go back up to the face. So we need that duck bill. We are going to build the duck bill off to the right hand side with, we're going to start off with a circle and get your whole arm going. Round and round you go. See how mine isn't perfect, how I've got some lines that go in, some lines that go out. Yours is going to be like that too. I don't want you to expect it to be perfect. So throw that out the window and just enjoy the imperfections, because as we all know, life is imperfect. Okay. So off of that oval, we have this big, long duck bill, platypus bill, that comes off in this oval, but it's a boxy oval. So let's take our hand and plant our wrist, and from one side of that oval, kind of over to the other, let's draw an arc that's about like that. And then from there, we can build our boxy oval off of that. So from there, we're going to kind of come down with some lines there and up at the top, another diagonal line there. Then if you want to, you can rotate your paper and do that same kind of gig where you do plant your wrist and draw that arc and let your hand help you there. I'm not rotating mine because then it gets confusing with the camera and stuff. So plant your wrist, get your arc there, draw a line down and a line down, rotate your paper, and let the bottom part be just a little bit more rounded, a little bit stronger of an arc. All right, inside this bill, they have two little nostrils, one right about here. They're pretty tiny, so just get your hand going, your fingers, in that circular motion, round and round you go. And they have a little ridge. Right below that, you can plant your wrist and get a nice little arc. It almost makes a little smiley face there. Can you see it? Just like that. It's just a little ridge, a little bump in their bill. And then up top, we have two little lines, just like that. All right, moving up toward the face. So this bill, it comes over and then it kind of drops down, but then it has this little tiny arc in it. So we're going to add in an arc right about there. That when we go over it, we'll head off of our circle onto that arc. All right, just up from that arc, if you kind of go up at a slight diagonal, we're going to add in the eye, and they have surprisingly big, beautiful eyes. So we're going to add in a nice circle about that big, just using your fingers. Round and round you go. See how mine's not perfect? Yours won't be perfect either, and we're not going to worry about it. Inside that circle, we're going to add another circle. It's kind of big, like that. So it'd be like their iris and their pupil, just like we have. Inside that pupil, let's add two circles because we're going to make it look sweet. One big, one little for some highlights. Now above the eye and extended back, it's almost like they are wearing eyeliner that has been applied to look like a cat eye. It extends back. So we're going to draw an arc over this eye and then add in at the end of that arc a rectangle that goes about like that. And then at the base of that, we're just going to add that arc just a little bit more. So we have this dark mark that goes all the way around their little eye. It's very cute. Okay, now we need the bottom part of their mouth and a little hand, and we're all set. So we're going to add in that bottom part of the mouth with an oval. We're going to let it extend over and overlap into the bill part. So it's about this big, and half of it is gray, the same color as the duck bill, and the other half is white. So we're going to give ourselves a little arc underneath there. Can you see that? So this is the part that we're going to end up seeing. All right, so we did an oval, and then we just kind of sliced it in half with a little arc. All right, next up, we need a little hand, and it's holding on to our box. So we're going to go just over and down from that face circle, and we're going to add in an oval. All right, so the interesting thing about the platypus is they have these cute little arms. They kind of reminded me of river otters, but their hands looked oddly human. So we are going to add in, I'm guessing it would be like from the knuckle to the fingernail. We're going to add in 4 ovals here. So they must have like almost like a thumb. We're going to scooch over from that edge and add in an oval there, and then we're just going to stack them up. And they're kind of thick little ovals. Okay, so we're going to do 3 that just kind of stair step up, and then we're going to go up here and add in, can't decide what angle I want there. Here we go. Add in that last one. It's almost like he's got his little finger hooked up. At the end of those ovals, at the bottoms of those ovals, we are going to add in, they almost look like fingernails, but they're their claws, and they just come down like that. They look like they just had a nice little manicure. They're all kind of long and pointed, almost exactly the same shape, and they're dark. And then on the very end there, where we have this oval, we're going to add in a little arc. It would be like the crease in your fingers, from your fingers headed back into your hand. Then we're going to add in an arc off the back of that oval. So this is their hand, and that's their little arm headed back to their body. Okay, now the funny part about the duckbill, it reminds me very much of the texture of a rain boot, and it sort of looks like someone smushed it onto their face. Like when we're all wearing masks right now, that's sort of what it reminds me of. So they have these little bits of fur that kind of stick up, like someone just took this thing and smushed it on, and the fur went up like that. So up at the top of that bill, around this top circle, we're going to add in some cute little tufts of fur. So around the eye, along that arc that we tucked in, we're going to just do that back and forth kind of motion and just add in some cute little fur. No real rhyme or reason to the shape of that. It's just pushed away from the duck bill. So your arc goes out and back in and out and back in. Super simple little motion. They don't all have to be uniform, and they don't all have to be the same size or weight when you trace over them. Okay, so our duck bill is going to come down like that. So we need a little bit more of that fur here. So we're just going to kind of go out and back in, and then out and back in. You can vary. You can have it arc up and then arc down. And we're just going to kind of angle it down toward that mouth part and the hand. Then where we've got this edge of the circle, this is what's going to be their neck. Their body shape is very much, it kind of reminds me of a cross between a beaver and an otter. So there's no real definition to their neck. It's just like you can just see a little bit of the texture of the fur there. So we're just going to add in a couple lines back and forth there as well. And that's all we need for our cute little platypus. So I'm going to double check my camera here and make sure that you can see all my marks. I think you can. So we're good to go. Give me a thumbs up if you can see them, and that way I'll know if I can draw these in pencil with you. Okay, so grab your marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You can use whatever you have on hand. It doesn't have to be a Sharpie, and it just needs to not be erasable, and we'll be all set. Okay, so let's start up at the top here. Let's start with our little tuft of fur. We're going to trace it back and forth over that. For the fur, you're holding your marker loose and kind of letting it go nice and light across the paper. So now we're going to go around the top part of the head onto that neck and the little body. And we're going to do it in long lines like this and then pick it up. So you end up with some variation because it's fur, but it's not real fluffy fur back here. So let it overlap a little bit as you come down. Nice long movements like that. They're cute little dudes, funky and cute. Okay, now let's do this duckbill. So we're going to go around this oval, head it up toward that face, around that top part of the oval. Then we're going to hop onto that little arc that we drew and back around our oval. Stop when you connect to that line. Then we're going to hop on that and go around the edge of that. I'm kind of alternating just so you can see what I'm up to there, but you're just drawing around that edge. You can do it the same way I did it, or you can do it in one motion. Totally up to you. All right, see how mine didn't line it up exactly and I didn't line it up exactly? It's okay. I call those things happy accidents. In the long run, they give your drawing some energy and they make it very unique to you. So don't sweat it if that happened to you. Not a big deal. Okay, so where we had this arc up here, we're just going to do a little hint of it. So hold your marker nice and light and loose. And we're just going to give a little hint of that arc. We're going to do the same thing for that little arc down at the bottom and the lines up toward the top. Nice and light. Just let your marker skip across your paper. Same thing up here. Because they're just little textures that are inside this duckbill that gives it a little bit of definition. All right, so for the nostrils, we're going to fill those in. We're going to go around that circle, and we're going to leave a little space at the top. So there's like a little hint of a highlight there. Around you go, just like that. So see how I left a tiny little bit? Okay, now let's do this bottom part of their mouth. We're going to go around the edge of that oval. And then for that arc that we added in, nice and light and loose again, go over that. It's dark on the top and white on the bottom. If you were to color it in, the top part of this bill and the top part of that oval are the same color. And the bottom is like, almost reminds me of like the color of your fingernail. And it looks like it might be like when your fingernails are grown out. It might be like clearish. I don't know. A very interesting animal. Okay, so around this eye, let's draw the full circle around the iris part of the eye. And then let's draw the full circle around the pupil. And then fill in the pupil, leaving our little circles that are highlights. Leave those white. Just like that. Now for our the shapes around the eye, this whole area, you can draw around that arc, around that rectangle, back around that arc. That whole area goes nice and dark. It's like they just put on a little bit of makeup. Just like that. Now we can do the fur around the face. So nice and light and loose with your marker again. Hold it a little loose in your hand. Back and forth. See how mine, I'm just kind of letting my marker skip across the paper. Same thing here. Back and forth. Just like that. Just has some cute little fur. They're very odd. All right, same thing for these little lines we had here. Nice and light and loose. Just draw in some hints of some fur there as you go down. Okay, now let's move on to this hand. We are going to go, let's see, what do we want to start? Let's start with I'm going to call this their pinky. We are going to go a little bit around that oval on that side. Then we're going to go all the way around the oval on that side. Same kind of suggestion on the next one. We're just going to start kind of up at the top and go all the way around like you're drawing a J, like that. Around that oval, make your J. Same thing with that little pointer one. And try to connect it over. Okay, now you can go all the way around that little claw. Just like that. Arc and arc. Very good. You see their little fingers taking shape? Now we're going to add in that little arc that we had here. It's like a little wrinkle. And we're going to go a little bit around that oval to that hand. To the finger, sorry. A little bit around the oval back to that finger. And then we'll add in that arc. Now we just need to add in our little line for our box. I'm going to make that a little darker. And if it shows up over here at all, you just tap it in. And we've got ourselves a cute little platypus. If you wanted to color this, this would be white. This would be brown. The fur is all brown, and up around the eye, I'm going to add in just a little hint to let you know. From here up to that eye, you can add in a little fur back and forth, nice and light. That would be slightly lighter. And then the rest of it is like the similar color to a river otter or a beaver. So, funky little platypus dude. All right, we're all set. So set down your marker, grab your eraser, and let's erase. You're going to steady your paper with your non-drawing hand and just erase all of your guidelines. Those ovals, we did ovals and arcs and circles today. I don't think we had too many triangles, just arcs. And you're just going to erase. If you have a darker line, take a second and erase all of it. Go over it a few times. Move your non-drawing hand along your paper so you don't accidentally crinkle your paper, because that's a bummer. And there you have a cute platypus. He's pretty cute. I'm going to move my little guide underneath there so I know what I'm doing. There's our platypus. I hope you had fun drawing it. Please send me your drawings. You can find me, Rebecca Ink, INK, because I like to draw with ink. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube to follow along with drawing tutorials. You can also find me on Instagram at Rebecca Inkabink. See what I'm working on in my studio on Facebook and Instagram. And thanks for drawing with me. Wear a mask, stay safe, be kind. We'll see you next week. Bye.